I want to mention the three major corruptors of business dealings of Muslims. And these are explicitly prohibited in the Quran and Sunnah. The first major corruptor is perhaps the most well-known, and it is riba. So riba in Arabic means increase. And at the time before Islam, what would happen is someone would loan money to another person, and when the time to repay came, the lender would go to the borrower and say, "Ataqdi aw turabbi," which means, will you pay it or will I increase it for you? Give you an extension on your loan, on the period, and but I'll increase your debt for you. So that's what riba referred to. That increase in indebtedness is riba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah says, "O you who believe, leave what remains of riba, if you are indeed believers. And if you do not, then be warned of war against you from Allah and His Messenger. But if you repent, then you have your principle. You should not do wrong unto others, nor should wrong be done unto you." And this refers to both paying interest and receiving interest. If you have a yes answer for these two questions, is there a loan? And is the lender contractually having a right to receive more than what they lent? If the answer is yes to both questions, then there's riba involved. So, I know you must love quizzes since you're in college. So let me ask you a few questions to see if you'll know if they're riba or not. We'll start with a very simple one. Interest charged on debt, is that riba? Who here thinks it's riba? Raise your hand. All right, you got it right. Obviously, it's riba. All right, here's one that may be a bit controversial. I'll tell you my opinion. So, charging more than cash price, is that riba? Now, let me explain. So, let's say this cup of water costs $5, and I want to buy this cup of water. I don't have $5. So, I go to the seller and I say, "Hey, I don't have $5, but I want to buy that cup of water." And he says, "That's fine. You can purchase the cup of water today, but I want you to pay me $10 in a year. I want you to pay me the price of what you purchased today, this $5 cup of water. I want you to pay it back $10 in a year." Is that riba or not? In the back? You don't think it is? Why not?
Because it's the price is fixed. So if you come back in a year, it's still $10.
Yeah.
If we're buying afterwards, it'll still be that $10. There's no increase on the line.
Right, but right. So you're saying that I bought the cup of water for $10, right?
Yeah.
Am I a crazy person?
I mean, like, at the end of the day, they'll tell us.
So let me rephrase that question. So if I was only receiving the service of purchasing that cup of water, right? If I was only interested in that service, which is purchasing the cup of water, right? The price of the cup of water is $5. So why am I willing to pay $10? What other service am I receiving and to convince me to pay $10 instead of the $5 price of the cup? We're getting 1 year to pay it off, exactly. In other words, financing. Financing, because I have 1 year to pay off a debt that I'm receiving. You see, I appreciate this is something that scholars disagree about, but I think it's pretty obvious, actually. The fact of the matter is, if I had the money, right, I would only be willing to pay $5 for the cup of water, right? Because that's its price. The only reason why I'm willing to pay $10 for the cup of water is because the person who is selling me is not just providing one service. He's providing, in fact, two services. He's providing the service of trading me water, and he's also providing the service of allowing me to gain ownership of this cup before I actually pay for it. In other words, he's lending me money to pay the $5, even though he didn't give me cash. He's lending me money to pay the $5 to purchase it today and gain ownership of it today in return for paying $10 in a year. So really, we need to look at the core of the things that are happening. We should not be deceived by only the superficiality of what's going on. What's going on when I buy something and I agree to pay more than its cash price is that I'm receiving two services. I'm receiving one service, which is receiving ownership of that which I've bought. And the second service is the financing that I needed in order to purchase the asset that I bought today and I gained ownership of today. With riba, when you're predetermining the profit that you receive, you're saying all of the risk is on the borrower. I don't care what happens to the borrower. I don't care if he profits, if he loses, if he goes bankrupt. I don't care about any of that. What I want is my money back with increase. This is not trade. This is a one-sided agreement, and it's taking advantage of the needs of others, and that's why Islam deems it unconscionable. So that increase in price is riba. The second major corrupter of business transactions is something called maysir, which is roughly translated into gambling.